There's one thing I've seen time and time again in motorcycle crashes. It's not the speed, it's not the rain, it's not the bike, it's the rider. And more specifically, what the rider was doing before it all went wrong. If you ride long enough, you start to see patterns, the behaviors, the mindsets, the habits that almost guarantee a crash at some point. So today, we're going to talk about them because riders who do these things, they're more likely to crash. Let's start with the big one, overconfidence. Overconfidence sneaks in quietly. It's subtle, almost invisible at first. You start off tentative, cautious. Every intersection is a test, every curve is a challenge. But over time, you gain experience. You stop stalling at stoplights. You get through traffic like a pro. You start to feel comfortable, maybe even a little invincible. And that's when it hits. Overconfidence is the point where familiarity breeds neglect. You stop scanning intersections with urgency. You take the same corners with a little more speed. You start braking later and later, thinking you've got it all under control. You stop gearing down early because you assume the situation won't change. You start assuming you're the smartest rider on the road. Here's the thing, confidence is good. You need it to ride well, but it has to be balanced with humility. The moment you think you've mastered riding is usually the moment you're at the highest risk. Because the road, it doesn't care how many miles you've logged. The road throws curveballs without warning, sand in the middle of a turn, an SUV drifting into your lane, a sudden downpour. True skill is being ready for those curveballs, not assuming they won't come. Stay sharp, stay curious, stay humble. Riders who chase adrenaline. There's a big difference between loving the ride and needing the rush. Riding motorcycles is thrilling. That's part of the magic. But some riders cross the line. They turn every straight road into a drag strip. Every curve becomes a race line. Every ride is about proving something to themselves, to their friends, to Instagram. These riders crave that feeling of the engine screaming at redline, of tires barely holding on in tight corners. And look, we've all done it now and then. But when it becomes the norm, that's where the danger grows. Because when every ride is about performance, you start to cut corners. You stop assessing the road surface before you twist the throttle. You stop calculating your braking distance before making a move. You start gambling, and eventually, the house wins. Riding fast isn't the problem. Reckless speed is. Controlled speed, that's an art. That's skill. But when the throttle becomes your identity, when the speed becomes the whole point, you're no longer in control. You're being controlled. If speed is your addiction, take it to the track. That's where the limits can be safely pushed. But on the street, the goal isn't to impress. It's to come home. Multitasking while riding. This one sounds obvious, but it's incredibly common. Adjusting your gloves at 60 miles per hour, fidgeting with your helmet strap while moving, checking your GPS, scratching your face, trying to change your music. All of it feels small and manageable until it's not. Unlike cars, motorcycles are not forgiving machines. You don't have a second hand to spare. You don't have a steel frame around you. You don't get airbags. One hand off the bar can shift your balance just enough to change everything. A second of distraction, and you're in a guardrail or under a bumper. Focus is your armor. Your vision, your balance, your awareness, they all need to be locked in. Every moment, every ride. That itch on your cheek, it can wait. That zipper, handle it before the ride. That navigation button, pull over. Think about flying a plane. You wouldn't expect a pilot to adjust his socks while descending onto a runway. Why should you be any less focused while doing 70 miles per hour on two wheels? Trying to keep up in group rides. Group rides can be amazing. There's something beautiful about a pack of bikes moving together in sync. But group rides also come with peer pressure, especially if you're riding with folks more experienced or aggressive than you. You've been there. One rider takes a curve faster than you're used to. Another blasts through an intersection you would have stopped for. And that thought creeps in. I have to keep up. But here's the truth: there are no trophies in a group ride, no medals, no leaderboard. There's only the ride itself. And if you crash trying to match someone else's pace, it ruins everything for you and for the group. Ride your own ride. That's not a cute saying, it's a survival mantra. If you need to back off, do it. If the group leaves you behind, so be it. The right riding friends will wait for you. The wrong ones aren't worth following. Poor lane positioning. Your lane isn't just one lane, it's three: left third, center third, and right third. Where you ride within that lane can mean the difference between being seen and being hit. Too far to the right, and you vanish from mirrors. You risk drivers merging into you because they literally didn't see you. Too far to the left, and you might be exposed to oncoming traffic or debris from the opposite lane. Smart riders adjust constantly. At intersections, you might want to be more centered for visibility. On a highway with lots of merging cars, left third gives you more options to evade. Near big trucks, stay out of blind spots and give yourself buffer room. You're not a passenger, you're the pilot. Choose your position with purpose. Cornering too fast. This one is deadly. Most single vehicle motorcycle crashes happen in curves, and most of those happen because the rider entered the curve too fast. The scenario is almost always the same. A rider goes in hot, realizes mid-turn that they're too fast, panics, target fixates, stands the bike up, and runs wide, sometimes into oncoming traffic. It's textbook. What causes it? Ego, lack of practice, misjudged speed, bad habits. Good cornering comes down to three things. 1. Look where you want to go. Your eyes guide your body, and your body guides the bike. 2. Trust your bike and your tires. Modern motorcycles can lean way further than most riders allow. 3. Adjust your speed before the curve, not in it. When you practice this enough, it becomes automatic. And that muscle memory can save your life. Let's talk gear, or lack of it. Some riders treat gear like a fashion statement. Helmet and gloves? Sure. Jacket? Maybe. Pants and boots? Who needs them? You want to know who wears full gear every time? People who've crashed before. Riders who don't wear gear are more likely to get injured. But more than that, they're also more likely to crash. Why? Because gear does something psychological. It puts you in the right mindset. The moment you gear up, you're telling your brain, this is serious. This matters. I'm not taking shortcuts today. And that mentality changes how you ride. You take fewer chances. You stay more alert. You ride like you care. Gear is not just protection. It's preparation. It's discipline. It's a mindset. And that mindset, more than the padding or the abrasion resistance, is what keeps you upright and safe. Let's go deeper. A fully geared rider is often someone who's seen the road's bad side. Maybe they've had a spill. Maybe they've watched a friend go down. But more importantly, they've learned. And that learning turns into action. Wearing gear also builds routine. You start the day with a checklist. Helmet? Check. Gloves? Check. Jacket zipped, boots laced. It becomes second nature. That habit builds awareness. And that awareness keeps your head in the ride. Because let's be real, how many times have we seen riders go down in shorts and sneakers? A tumble at 40 miles per hour in jeans? That's skin graft territory. The road is unforgiving. Dress for the slide, not the ride. Now let's talk about riding tired. Fatigue is a silent killer. You're not drunk, you're not distracted, you're just drained. And that's when it happens. You miss a turn signal. You fumble your braking point. You drift out of your lane just a bit too far. Your reaction time slows, your awareness narrows, your grip weakens, and you don't even realize it. Fatigue doesn't announce itself. It doesn't hit like a brick wall. It creeps in, slowly, stealthily, until you're just not 100%. And on a motorcycle, not being 100% is a problem. You need all your senses, all your awareness, all your focus. Riding tired is like riding with your vision blurred and your reflexes dampened. You're basically handicapping yourself on purpose. If you wouldn't drive tired, why ride that way? Because on two wheels, you don't have the luxury of mistakes. The edge is thinner. The margin is razor sharp. So listen to your body. Listen to your mind. If you're drowsy, if you're dull, if you feel off, park it. It's not worth the risk. Which brings us to another big one, skipping training. Too many riders treat the MSF course like a checkbox. Done it, passed it, good to go. But riding is not a static skill. It's dynamic, it evolves, it sharpens, or it dulls. And if you're not actively honing it, it's slipping. Think about it like this. Would you trust a pilot who hasn't trained in 5 years? Or a surgeon who hasn't picked up a scalpel in months? Riding is precision. Riding is decision making. Riding is reflexes, and reflexes need training. Riders who keep learning crash less. It's not opinion, it's fact. Because when the unexpected happens, a deer jumps out, a car swerves into your lane, a tire blows, you don't have time to think. You react. And how you react is based on what you've trained for. Training drills muscle memory. It turns panic into action, fear into control. Take advanced courses. Do braking drills. Practice emergency swerves in a parking lot. Ride with experienced mentors. Watch training videos. Read riding theory. Treat your riding like a craft, not a chore. Because mastery isn't about showing off, it's about surviving the next challenge. Ride like a student, always. Now let's talk about ego. Ego is one of the most dangerous things a rider can carry. It whispers, you don't need to check your tire pressure. It says, you've ridden this road 100 times. Take it fast. It shrugs off signs of fatigue. It ignores a rattling sound. It waves off the weather forecast. Ego makes you assume. Ego makes you shortcut. Ego makes you think you're invincible. And that's when it bites you. Because the road doesn't care how experienced you are. Ego makes you take unnecessary risks. It makes you prove something. It puts performance over safety. The best riders I know, they're humble. They gear up every time. They check their bikes. They ride like every ride is new. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Ego also turns into peer pressure. You're riding with a group. Someone starts showing off. You feel the itch. You think, I can do that too. But ask yourself, why? What are you trying to prove? And to who? There's no trophy at the end of a canyon run. No points for dragging a knee on a city street. Ride because you love it, not because you're trying to impress. Let's hit another crucial one, riders who stop loving it. This one might sound strange, but it's real. When riding becomes routine, when it turns into obligation, when it's just commuting or status or noise, you stop paying attention. The spark fades, the awareness fades, the focus fades, and that's when mistakes creep in. Motorcycling demands your presence, your passion, your full attention. When you stop caring, you stop preparing. You let your guard down, you lose the edge. Riding should be joy. It should be connection. It should be something you look forward to. If you find yourself zoning out, just going through the motions, take a break, reconnect. Remember why you started riding in the first place. Maybe it was freedom. Maybe it was the thrill. Maybe it was just the feeling of flying on two wheels. Whatever it was, find it again. Because the moment you stop loving it, you stop respecting it. And the road deserves your respect. So, where does that leave us? It leaves us with a simple truth. Motorcycle crashes don't just happen because of speed or weather or traffic. They happen because of habits, mindsets, behaviors, choices. Riders who ignore the small stuff, riders who push past their limits, riders who stop learning, stop caring, stop thinking. They're the ones most at risk. But the good news, these are all things you can control. You can choose to ride with awareness, with humility, with respect. You can gear up, you can train, you can rest, you can listen to your gut. You can be the rider who stays sharp, who stays safe, who stays passionate. And that rider crashes a whole lot less. Stay safe, stay smart. Subscribe to Autozium, and I'll see you on the next ride.